You've lived a great life and done well for yourself. But what mark will you leave on the world? How will you inspire future generations? Stan Miller and Katie Beth Hand have helped thousands of people answer exactly those questions. If you've ever wondered, what will be my legacy? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Your Life, Your Legacy podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Stan and Katie Beth.
Welcome to My Life, My Legacy podcast. I'm your guest host, Diane Robinson, investment advisor with IP Financial Advisory Services, LLC. Today, my guests are the dynamic duo of Eash and Amy O'Hara from Mako Recruiting, LLC. Welcome, ladies. I'm glad to have you here.
Thanks,
Diane.
So let's get started. Marie, how did you get started in Mako Recruiting? How did it come about?
Sure. So after about 16 years of a career in HR working at a manufacturing facility, I got the itch to get out and try something different. So I left that job and started working for a recruiting company in Murraysville, Pennsylvania. And after there for about a year, I started thinking that it was something that we could start in our local area here in Johnstown. So having a partnership with Amy for a long time, asked her if that was something she would be interested in doing, and she jumped on board right away, and hence we started Mako Recruiting about 2 years ago.
So Amy, how's it feel going from friends to partners?
Very nice. In fact, I tell everybody this story. Marie won my heart about 14 years ago when I was looking for a job and I was 7 months pregnant. And Marie hired me. There was no questions asked. I was 7 months pregnant. She took me in as one of her HR people in our company, and that started our friendship. And from there, we became business partners.
So Marie, what do you do at Mako Recruiting?
Sure. So we started the business with an effort to help companies hire their best employees. So we were fully expecting to be a recruiting company, direct placement. So as an employer, if you were struggling to find people, you would reach out to Mako. Amy and I would go out and hunt for candidates for you and then help you hire, the best talent for your team. Quickly after we started, though, we started to get some contacts for HR consulting, given our backgrounds in human resources. So we also offer human resources consulting, whether it's, helping with performance management, updating a handbook. It can be a large HR project, a small HR project. We also offer those services as well.
Great. So Amy, how have things changed from what you thought you were getting into and what you're into now?
I have to say that it has been better than I expected. We just hit our 2 years in April, the beginning of April. And as a small business, 2 people just going out, trying this with just going out on a limb and a leap of faith. I don't think we expected to be as good as we are. And I guess that's probably not the right word to use, but we did not expect to be so busy and, within the first 2 years. So we are very grateful, very blessed.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's take a look at the economy as it is today, and people are worried about losing their jobs and companies are having trouble finding qualified people. So Marie, you take the one, we'll divide this up. So Marie,
Okay.
you take, if you're one of those persons who's worried about losing their job or they lose their jobs, what advice do you have for them when they go looking for another job?
Sure. So I think it's critical to always have a resume that is updated, that fully lists what it is that your background consists of. We get a lot of people that will submit a resume that was thrown together that maybe isn't listing all of their skills and abilities. So when they're applying for a job, it's limiting the amount of employers that will look at them if they don't see a specific, job responsibility on there. So my recommendation to anybody, whether you're actively working or actively looking for employment, is to keep that resume updated as you go through your career, That way you're not trying to think back 10 years ago, what it is that you did or what skill sets you had. I think you should always have a resume updated with your full list of everything, because that's another thing too, is don't ever feel like you're putting too much on a resume. I would rather throw something on there that you did as opposed to letting it out, because that can disqualify you for a job without an employer even getting to talk to you about what your background truly is.
Okay, Amy, so take it from the employer's point of view. What advice would you give them if they're out looking for qualified employees?
Well, the first thing I would say is hire Mako Recruiting. That would be the first thing. But in all
You
seriousness,
worked that in nicely.
in all seriousness, though, it's an employees market right now. Employers everywhere are struggling, and that's what we find as the number one complaint from our clients is, where are we going to find these people? We can't get qualified people. We can't get people to stay. So retention is a huge problem as well. For employers, I would say succession planning. I would say make sure that you have people backed up and trained in different areas in your business, but also, just continue to search for people even if you're not truly looking, because sometimes it's good to have those resumes in your back pocket. And, sometimes people don't even know they're looking until you bring it to their attention.
Okay. So what piece of advice would you have for, let's say I came to you and I'm looking for a job. I haven't been able to find one. So do you actually offer some services for the person looking for a job, help them with the resume or give them some advice to make them more employable to the people, to the companies that are looking for employees?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. We can definitely do that. So we have helped a lot of people put together that resume. We've sat down with them, talked to them about what it is that they've done over their career so far and helped them put together, that one piece of paper that really sells them to their potential next employer. So we can help people do that. We can also help them get their resume out there. We have a lot of contacts with businesses that are hiring and that aren't hiring. But like Amy said, we send resumes regardless, because you just never know when you're going to need to find the next person.
Okay, so since this podcast is My Life, My Legacy, what legacy do you want your business to leave on a
That's a
personal
good one.
level, on a business level? Which one?
So I think one of the things that I feel that we want to leave is, we're very passionate about the area. We're very passionate about the people in the community. We've really received help from other people out there. And I think what we would love to do is help people and pass it forward, pay it forward. So I think the legacy that I would want to leave is to know that I've helped people and they've found my help, got them somewhere where they want to be.
And I think too, just to add to that, for Mako Recruiting, I think it's important that we help not only job seekers realize that there's a lot of potential in the Johnstown and surrounding areas. They don't have to leave to go to a big city to find a job. They don't have to move 2 states over. There's a lot of opportunity in the area, and we can help connect them to those employers. And same thing with employers. I think we would like to show them that there is a huge job pool of people available that are looking and want to stay in the area, but just don't know how to get in front of them. So with our company, we'd like to leave a legacy that, the people exist and the jobs exist. We can help match those two to help keep people in our area and keep this area going.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things that both of us really want to strive for is to, help this area, keep this area thriving, and, make it a great place for people to want to come to.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for the community as far as helping you do your job and helping the companies get the qualified employees they need and helping the employees get the jobs they want?
Yeah, I think we have a really great community. And, Amy and I started this business with just using our connections to gain business and access to clients. And the support has been tremendous. This is an area that truly takes pride in helping local businesses, keep going. So I think our, suggestion would be, don't be afraid to reach out to the local business down the road that is trying to sell a service or a product, because chances are they probably came from the area and they're trying to help the area, and boost the economy here locally.
Okay, so is there any one piece of advice that you would like to give?
Yeah, I would Honestly, it would be to shop local. Stay
I
local.
agree.
Use your local businesses and your local connections. Keep the business here in our area. Let's help each other out.
I agree. We have a potential client right now who said they do not want to work with a large recruiting firm. They want to work with someone local, someone who knows the area, someone who's grown up here, someone who has ties and a loyalty to the community. So I think if we all kind of had that mentality, we could really help each other.
Okay, so you're more for the community and the people that are coming to you looking for jobs, and the companies seeking employees are looking for more local because
Yeah,
of the community.
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And it is a good area to live. There's great school districts, there's local colleges, there's a lot of events that go on locally. Amy
Yeah.
and I are always out and about, which is why we're sitting in a car right now in a Chiefs parking lot doing this podcast. And you can see, I mean, it is fully buzzing. There are lots of opportunities, and we want to help. We want to help contribute to those opportunities and help our community stay thriving.
So give me an example of the one success story for an employee looking for a job that you're most proud of.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I would say I don't want to use names.
No, you don't use
Okay.
the name. Just tell us about them.
Okay, but there was a gentleman, a younger gentleman who was straight out of college, and he sent us his resume. We know his mom. He sent us his resume, and the mom said, he just graduated. He's really looking to stay in the area. He wants to be here. He doesn't want to leave.
And she also wanted him to stay in the area.
Yes.
Of course, she's a mom.
Yeah.
She's a mom.
Yes.
So we took his resume, we passed it on to two different clients, and the one client interviewed him, loved him. 2 years later, I just saw him at a business event, a business networking event, and he's still with that same company and loving it. And they love him. So I think that was one of our very first success stories.
It was one of the first places.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
great example of where you have a younger guy who was considering leaving the area to find a job at a bigger city or in a different state, and was able to stay right here in Johnstown because there was a local company that was hiring and it was a good fit. And 2 years later, like Amy said, the relationship is great. He's still there and the company is doing well.
Yeah.
And we were able to keep him in the area for him and also his
And for his mom.
So do you recommend that the ones looking for jobs do some practice interviewing? If so, how
Yeah.
they go about it?
Yes, there's all kinds of examples online, but we also can help with that. That's something that we've been on both ends. We've sat in the recruiting seat, we've sat in the interviewee seat. So we know what to ask along with our education and our knowledge of employment law. We know the questions that you should ask, questions that you shouldn't ask. And we like to make sure the employees know what they should and shouldn't be asked too. So that's something that we can help them with as well. But yes, practice, be prepared, practice on your friend, on your brother, on your sister, your mom, your dad, but definitely go into an interview prepared. Also do research on the organization.
Yeah.
We always tell people that when they're interviewing, we try to send the links to the website of our clients to them so they can get a little bit more familiar with who they're interviewing with.
And I think to add to that, Diane, when you're going to an interview, you should always remember to dress for success. We've seen a lot of times where, different generations dress differently nowadays. And I think it's important to remember that you are presenting yourself. This is the first look. This is the first impression that you're making. I think it's important to, even Google what to wear to an interview. I'm interviewing at a manufacturing company. What is appropriate interview attire? There are all kinds of suggestions and resources out there. So I would recommend doing research on that as well and going to the interview and presenting yourself in a way that is appropriate.
Okay, so let's switch gears here a little bit. So you do some HR services for local businesses. How did you get that started, and what services do you provide to them?
Sure. So after starting the business and, kind of selling ourselves with our backgrounds, we started to get some requests for fractional HR, if you will. So we're talking some smaller companies that maybe can't afford to have an HR person on staff full time. But obviously, when you have employees, there's a need for human resources with all of the employment laws, and policies that have to be put in place. So we were contacted by a couple of different companies just asking, if we could help with, updating handbook,
Job descriptions.
updating job descriptions. We've helped a local company put a performance review plan in place. So things that take time, that if you don't have an HR person in-house, they kind of get put on the back burner, or maybe they don't get put in place at all. And these are things that employees, value and need to feel vested in a company. So we can do anything as small as, a 5-minute, project, or we can take something that will last weeks where we rewrite every job description, make sure they're compliant, and make sure they match what the actual job is. So it can be small all the way up to a larger project.
So do all companies realize that they need to have a handbook and they need to do this, or do you have services to kind of make them aware of it?
Yeah, I don't think everybody realizes it. I think they may understand that's something they need, but they don't know how important it is and how crucial it is, especially after you reach a certain number of employees. It's almost mandatory. So we try to educate our clients on that, our smaller clients. We actually had a client that we worked with that had about 80 people, and they did not have an in-house dedicated HR person, which was really surprising to us. But so I know that individuals and clients realize that it's needed, but I don't know if they realize how important it actually is.
Unfortunately, they find out when they get fined.
Yes.
And it's too late then.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot again. And okay, Amy, I'm interviewing you to hire you to help me find employees. Sell yourself.
Okay, so my name is Amy, and I have about 25 to 26 years of HR experience. I am certified with the SHRM organization along with the HRCI, which is the HR institution, and I enjoy what I do. I have a passion for what I do. I love helping individuals, and I would really like the opportunity to sit down with you, explain our services, explain my knowledge, my background, my education, and what I can really do for you.
Okay, Marie, your turn.
Oh, great. Okay. So, yes, I am Marie and with Mako Recruiting. So, at our company, we like to help companies hire great employees while allowing them to focus on their core business. So, let us do the hard work for you. We can go out and search for qualified applicants, complete pre-screens, put all of that time in for you, and only send you qualified candidates. And we have several success stories that we could share with you. A lot of recruiting statistics on, how long it takes for us to get qualified candidates versus the placement of a candidate. So let us talk to you about how we can help you hire the best candidate for your next job.
Okay, great. So is there anything else I should be asking you that I haven't thought of?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know. I don't think. One question that we always get, Diane, is how did you come up with your name,
I was
Mako?
going to ask that one.
Okay.
There we
I
go.
assume it's the shark, right?
Yeah, Mako's a shark. And, women are often perceived as delicate and how do I want to say that? Delicate, and they're not like super aggressive. So
Yes.
we took a play on our name, and my name is Amy O'Hara. Marie's name was Colosimo, her maiden name. So we said, what about Mako, Maco, or Amco? And Marie said, well, you know what? Let's just go with a shark. They're aggressive, and we can tag our company, our tagline be, let us hunt for your hire, because sharks are
Aggressive
natural
hunters.
hunters. So, we just thought it was great. And we have two sharks, one big, one little. Marie owns 51% of the company. I own 49. So we made Marie the big shark and I'm the little shark. And it just went from there, but we love it. We love it.
So what has the feedback been from the community with your new business? Well, not new business, but newer business.
Yeah, no. So it's caught on. A lot of people like the theme that we're trying to push with the, letting us hunt as sharks do. Let us do the dirty work for you. Let us do the digging. Let us put the time in. And then you reap the rewards. We've had consistent interest from the local community. We have a consistent, book of business. And we've been shown a lot of support from the community, which really encouraged us to keep going. So I think that's one thing too, if you're thinking about starting a business, but you're just not quite sure, or if you're afraid to take that leap, don't be, because I think we were, but with lots of prayers and lots of support from the community, it's shown that it's worth it. It is definitely worth the leap.
It is.
So what advice would you have from any young women that are thinking about going into either HR or into starting their own business?
Sure. Honestly, from my point of view, I would say go for it. Human resources is something that is definitely a need, not a want. I think every company, large and small, needs it and has to have it. So I feel like the opportunity, for a career in that is definitely there. And another thing I would suggest is to make connections. There are a lot of local meetings that go on every week, every month with HR organizations or just local networking groups.
Business networking
I think
groups.
build your network. Amy and I didn't start a business right out of college. We put 15, 20, 25 years into the field before we decided to start the business. And that was merely to build those connections and have those, other people that we could reach out to help support us. So I think it's important that you have a network of people behind you.
And what's really great is we have made wonderful friends actually in the HR field. We know probably almost every HR individual within hundreds of organizations, one from being part of our local HR chapter, but also to being members of different business networks and just, being friendly and really trying to get out there and get involved with our community.
So do you both have children?
We do. Yes.
do.
So
Are there any
yes, I
daughters
have.
there?
Yeah, so I just have one son, but I know he's only 7 at this point, but I try to encourage him to follow his dreams, regardless of what they may be. One day he wants to be a veterinarian, the next day he wants to be a professional baseball player.
Right.
So at this point, I think the sky's the limit, but yes, I would encourage, young children, follow your dreams.
Absolutely.
And Amy?
I have a daughter who's 14 and a son who is graduating high school this year. So I am going through a little bit of a struggle myself. But my son and I have those conversations about, what he wants to do for the rest of his life. And I said, honey, I'm 53 and I still don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life. But again, what Marie said is follow your dreams, follow your heart. Don't ever think that something isn't attainable. As long as you put your mind to it and you have passion and, just perseverance, I think anything is possible. So to all those young girls, young entrepreneurs out there, follow your dreams.
Go for it.
All right. So do you have any last piece of advice for anybody or anything you want to say? Or
honestly, I wish, so when I was back in high school and college, I wish I would have had more encouragement to get involved. You see the flyers for local events or, charity events that are going on or ways to get involved in the community. And no one really told me to do that. Now, as an adult, and starting a business and seeing what the community can do for each other, I would say get involved. If you see an advertisement for something, an event where you can volunteer or help, my suggestion is to get involved, because you never know when you're going to run into somebody that may help you make a connection. They can help you get your next job or take that next step in your career.
I agree. I agree with Marie. And I also believe that if people do get involved, they are going to see how kind and generous this community is and how willing people are to help you and to help you get to that next level and to connect you with individuals who might be able to help you get where you want to go. Like I said, this community is just amazing. And I don't know that we can say enough good things about it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for listening. And this has been My Life, My Legacy podcast with your guest host, Diane Robinson. My guests today were Marie Eash and Amy O'Hara from Mako Recruiting.
Thank you for having us.
So before we end this, you need to tell everyone how to contact you.
Sure. So you can reach out via our website. It's www.recruitwithmako.com.
Okay.
Contact information is also listed on there for both Amy and I, and there's also a contact form where you can submit right through the website.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much,
Diane.
Their contact information will be on the podcast as well. So if you didn't get it, wait till it's online and then you can get it from then. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Your Life, Your Legacy podcast with Stan Miller and Katie Beth Hand. If you enjoyed the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. To find out more about Stan and Katie Beth, go to pinnaclelegacylaw.com. You can also find links in the show notes.